Hello, lovers of ancient Roman history. Our third episode will be about the Roman Republic, and we'll focus on the first period of the Roman Republic, or so-called the early Roman Republic. This period is very interesting because a Roman state was transformed from not only from monarchy to respublica, which is mean commonwealth or a state in English, but also the institution will develop and transform, which later will make the Roman Republic one of the strongest states in Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. This period is also interesting, the struggle between the Senate and the plebs of Rome and the ordinary people of Rome. The Republic starts in 509 BC with the fall of overthrowing the last king of Rome, Tarquinius Superbus, or in English Tarquinius the Proud. Overthrow the kings, and the last of them, it gives the beginning of the Roman Republic. But here, in this sense, democracy, it was really it wasn't a restoration or the beginning of democracy, because the Roman Senate did them all powers, the nobility and aristocracy of Rome, to hold all the jurisdictional, military, and religious power in their hands. And the Roman Republic is full of struggle between the Roman Senate and the nobles who were represented in the Senate to fight with the plebs who wanted more power and to have share of this power of these institutions. So this period is interesting that first of all the Roman institutions were developed, economical, military, and so on, law. They were developed, and that's make, if you like, in that sense, Rome as a civilized and strong state, unique in a lot of ways if we look at it and the aspects of the Roman state. Unfortunately for us, the sources are very little and very controversial. We have really two main sources for that period. This is Fabius Pictor and Livy. And as we know, to develop critical thinking and to find the truth, what really exactly happened in history in general, and in this case, the early Roman Republic, is hard because our sources are limited, and also maybe some of the accounts of Livy are distorted, or not saying the full truth about the processes in Rome. As we know, Livy was a very patriotic man, and he would depict all events and people only patriotically, without involving any critical thinking or negativity about the Roman state, people, and events. This period as well is marked with the conflict of orders. It's called this epic battle between the plebs and the nobility and the senate for sharing the power with the plebs. This starts with the so-called Nexum in 494 BC, when the plebs were bondage to the nobility, and they had a lot of debts to them, and that was the first secession that they left Rome and rebel against the nobility and the senate. That will happen a few times, which will lead to changes in Rome and make the nobility and the senate to give up some of them powers to the plebs. Plebs were also, they want that they can have a tribune who going to defend them rights to the front of the senate and represent them in the Roman senate. For 451 and 450 were made the so famous the 12 tables, the laws of Rome, on which on them will be built the so-called, maybe not in the sense of the modern time, but it can call constitution. With this struggle in orders, the plebs won not only a person who they elected and to protect them, but also they won that in 367 that also they can be involved in the election of the two consuls, because the king of Rome was replaced with two consuls who also act as kings, but only for a short period of time, and there were two of them. No one of them, if one of them tried to usurp the power, the other will stop him and save the Respublica, which, how we said, Respublica, it's mean Commonwealth or state in English. These two consuls usually they were involved until 367 BC. They were elected only from the elite, nobles, and aristocracy of Rome, which were ruling the Senate. And but after that, the plebs had rights to vote for consuls, and also the struggle of orders brought to the plebs the rights to be married to nobles of Rome, or the patricians as they were called, which was a victory for them. And this struggle of the conflict of orders brought some rights and some access for the plebs to this institution. This period is very important also, that the Roman institution, economical, military, they were developed and established, which were very important for the future history of Rome. And also this will affect in a broader sense, all territories of Italy, later Europe, North Africa, and Near East. Also in this period, Rome started its expansion. In the beginning, Rome had the expansion starts with major battle against and victory, and after they capture it, the very important rival city of Veii in 396 BC. So the Rome start to control all what is more or less now today Latium, and from there they start further expansion. The next enemy of Rome, they were the Samnites. The Samnites, Rome will have an epical struggle with them. We have three major wars with them, and finally they will defeat in battle in 295 BC the Samnites. They were a confederation of Gauls, Samnites, and Etruscans. They saw Rome as a threat, this new united power in the center of Italy, and they fought ferociously against them. But after three wars, they were conquered. So central Italy fall under the control of Rome. Next expansion for the early Roman Republic will be in the south of the peninsula, in today's South Italy, and there will be another epical war against one also legendary king of Epirus, Pyrrhus, who was a second cousin of Alexander the Great. Rome fought really bitterly with him, and with king who was extremely ambitious, and he want to fulfill the same destiny like his second cousin Alexander the Great. He was dreaming to create a huge kingdom, to become one of the greatest kings in history. But also he was a good tactician and a general, which make it more difficult for Rome to defeat him. But anyway, there will be three major battles against him in the Pyrrhical War, which lasts between 280 to 272 BC. The first battle was in 280 in Heraclea, where the Romans were defeated. He landed in south of Italy to help Tapas, one of the cities there, and he was called to help them against the Roman aggression and expansion. And he saw opportunity to fulfill his dreams, to become a great king and defeat one of the rising powers in Italy. So In this battle, the Romans lost. They were also frightened of the elephants, but even though they fought really greatly, and all the dead bodies in the battlefield were all Roman soldiers had wounds, so it showed that all of them they fought ferociously and fearlessly, except they had a little fear against the elephants. Even Pyrrhus, the king himself, admired them spirit and fighting skills, and he said, even if only I had Roman soldiers in my side, I'm sorry, I could win, I could conquer the world. After this battle, he saw that the people of Tapas are lazy, they're enjoying eating, sleeping, and they were generally very lazy. So he tried to shape them and train them. And he said, I'm not going to have lazy people in my army. And he continued the war with Rome because the Romans refused to have a peace treaty with him and to admit that they are defeated and to have a deal with him that is not favor to Rome. So the war continues. The second battle, it was the next year in 379 in Battle of Axulum, where again the King Pyrrhus won the battle against the Romans. And when he was greeted for his victory, he said, if I win one battle like this, I'm finished, which is meant that he lost a lot of men in this battle, and it was again ferocious, and the Romans really didn't give up easily. So he tried to make a peace treaty with them, but again, the Romans, even though in the beginning they kind of were willing to make this peace treaty with Pyrrhus, in which allowed him to move freely in south of Italy and to control most of the territories. In the end, they refused. They refused to have a treaty with him and continue the war. The third decisive battle between King Pyrrhus and the Roman troops, with the legendary one of the consuls was Decius Mus. It took place in 275 in the Battle of Beneventum, where the Romans this time they find a way to fight the elephants, and they fought again furiously, and they won the battle. Before the battle, there is interesting story that Decius Mus has a dream that the Romans will win the battle next day, but the consul will die. And if that's true, this dream was really a prophetic dream, because the next day the Romans were losing the battle, and Decius Mus saw that he has to take extreme measures to try to save the day, and he ran with his horse in the enemy's lines, trying to encourage his soldiers with his own sacrifice and bravery. And after seeing him, the Roman soldiers were embarrassed and they followed him, but he was killed, but the battle was won for the Romans. So after this battle, Pyrrhus, the king, was very disappointed and frustrated, and he left South Italy, and in later that year, Tapus, his main city and his ally, was captured by the Romans, and in 272 the king was killed in city of Argos, where he was trying to expand his kingdom in the south of Greece. So after the Pyrian Wars, Rome expanded its power to the whole south peninsula of Italy, except except Sicily. And so after the Pyrrhic War, Rome really controlled a vast territory in the peninsula. We start with the old Central and South Italy, and that was pivotal, and it was a step to further expansion, and that's brought to the another epical and legendary war, the Punic War, which two empires will face each other, being friends for a long time. Even some evidence pointed that they were even in somehow allies and have peace agreement, will bring them to the bitterest fuse, and the battle will be really legendary and epical. But we will talk about the Punic War in next episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you learned something about the Romans and the European history, and why not in the African history, because later Rome will be closely related, not only conquering but culturally with North Africa and Near East. So if you like it, this episode, please press the like button and subscribe. I wish you a good day, and I hope you enjoy it.